everyone, and welcome to this Ask the Expert session. Power up your development efforts with the latest low-code innovations. I'm going to give you a quick tour, what to expect. We'll do some introductions, and then we'll get it over to our experts. Please use the Q&A chat box to ask your questions. They'll appear once they are approved by our crew, and we will be answering both verbally and in chat. We kindly ask that you not record the session on your side. We will record and make it available on demand post-event. We also ask that you help our moderators. Please do not spam the Q&A. Lastly, please adhere to the Microsoft Code of Conduct. It is posted here for your review, and we will add it to the chat as well. And with that, I'll turn it over to Ryan, Sonia, and our experts. Ryan, take it away.
Thank you, Sharon. It's great to be here with everybody live. We just did the session that was actually recorded weeks ago. Sonia and I spent a great day hanging out in a little cabin on the Microsoft campus that I don't think anybody knew existed before that, and recording the session. But it's so cool to have the news about Power Pages and Express Design finally out there in the public, and more importantly, the product out there for people to get hands-on with. So please do submit your questions. I guess I've got one to kick us off. Sangya, for people that may have missed the session, can you give us just the high level, what is Power Pages and why is it so exciting?
Awesome. Thank you. But first of all, welcome everybody. Like Ryan said, we're super excited. Today has been amazing build kickoff with lots of amazing news on low code and Power Platform. I'm Sangya Singh. I'm the Vice President for this new product that we just announced today called Power Pages. So Power Pages is the newest member of the Microsoft Power Platform family. Today we know we have 4 of these services, Power BI, Power Apps, Power Automate, Power Virtual Agent, and today we introduce Power Pages. Power Pages is going to enable customers, organizations, governments around the world to build modern, secure, external-facing websites that has business data in it. It's hosted on a secure platform. It's the next evolution for a lot of you who already know about Power Apps portal capability, a battle-tested capability. Today, we've taken that capability, the existing platform and the product capabilities, and then we've added new innovative low-code experiences that hopefully you saw in Ryan and my sessions. We have a whole new design studio. We have a whole new templates hub, Learn Hub, and I look forward to answering questions with Ryan.
Well, we've got a couple rolling in. I guess I'll play moderator for the Pages questions. The first one is, will there be ability to include Power Virtual Agent apps as well as teams within Power Pages?
Great question. So primarily Power Pages is built for external websites to reach out to your community audiences, to your customers, to your partners. So we definitely right now have plans to incorporate Power Virtual Agent. We don't have a lot of scenarios yet for external sites on Teams. As you know, Power Apps is for internal application. It has deep integration with Teams. So that's where Teams really shines with Power Apps. But for Power Pages, we definitely have plans to get Virtual Agent incorporated.
Awesome. It looks like we got another question, which is a really good one for folks that may have been familiar with Power Apps portals previously. What's the difference between that and Power Pages? What's new?
That's awesome. So Power Pages, think of it as an evolution of Power Apps portals. A lot of us talk about it internally. It's the new version 2.0 of Power Apps portal. So it's built on the same platform. So if you look at different layers of Power Pages, the underneath layers today exist in Power Apps portals. So all the robust, secure website hosting platform that hosts all these portals, websites externally, that's battle tested for scale, has elasticity because it's built on Azure Web Apps. Then on top of that, you've got a lot of capabilities for authentication and authorization with the Microsoft Dataverse integrated to securely store your business data. So that's the second layer. And then the third layer that existed with Power Apps Portal was Pro Dev capabilities. We've got integrations with Visual Studio Code, GitHub, and Azure DevOps. And now what we've done is we've taken that capability, and to really democratize the creation of websites, we've added a whole new experience for low-code experience of creating those websites. We call it the Power Pages Design Studio. So brand new reimagined Design Studio gets introduced, a brand new set of out-of-the-box templates to unlock the imagination of the world on how they can get going with different patterns of these external websites kick off. So Power Pages is the next evolution of all the goodness in Power Apps portals with new low-code, no-code capabilities. And it's also really a announcement from our side to say that we are deeply going to be investing in it. Even those 4 value props that I just talked about, you know, really integrated with other parts of Power Platform, a robust website hosting platform, Pro Dev capabilities, and low-code capabilities, will continue to innovate in all those 4 areas as we move forward. So public preview is a start of that.
It's a big step forward. I gotta say that as somebody who you know, has worked in the older version of the designer, the new one is just night and day improved in terms of how easy it is to build a really powerful website and do a lot of that data modeling under the hood. You know, what's also exciting is some of the investments for professional developers, though, and this is the Build Conference after all. You know, a couple questions here related to particularly you know, lifecycle management and CICD, both generally for Power Platform. You know, somebody's asking, hey, how can you please publish better documentation about how to do you know, CICD in general, and maybe specifically how will it work with Pages? You know, I'll say generally speaking, this is an area we're investing a ton in, and you know, we have actually, you know, under the major headline announcements in this session, we've made a bunch of updates and improvements, you know, both to the ability to run CI/CD with Azure DevOps, as well as with GitHub Actions, and we have a number of additional tools coming out around that ecosystem, particularly in the integration with Visual Studio and VS Code and Code Spaces. So there's a lot of exciting stuff on that front. We do have some solid documentation there. We've also recently released a ALM accelerator kit that makes it easier to take a lot of those underlying mechanics and expose them to a broader range of people, including citizen developers in the organization. So a lot of general energy around CI/CD for Power Platform in general. Maybe Sangha, you can speak a little bit more specifically to Power Pages and what the world looks like there for pro devs.
Yeah. Just to build on, Ryan, what you said, I just want to bubble up and say, because we are part of Power Platform, what you'll see these concepts and the investments that you've done with CI/CD in Power Apps and Power Automate. Power Pages being part of that platform, you actually leverage the same thing. So we all share an underlying capability around having GitHub workflow actions or Azure DevOps actions. So for the Pro Dev capabilities, basically, not only do we have Pro Devs going into Visual Studio Code and using our CLI interface to download the entire Power Pages as website content, all of the content, and use our web APIs and code components, and create those code components and then upload it to the dev environment, but using the GitHub Actions, workflow actions that you're talking about, whether it's GitHub or it's Azure DevOps workflow actions that you're talking about, taking it from low-level environments to the staging environment. And then, of course, when you have to go live, you know, you have to package all those solutions to really go live. But the whole CI/CD integration is available for Power Pages using the workflow actions that I just talked about.
Awesome. And I would say there's another group of questions around here kind of related to the previous one. Do I have to do anything to turn a Power Apps portal into Power Pages or a Power Pages website? What's the process of evolution here? Is there a migration? Everybody is always worried about that M word.
Yes. So first, with the public preview, you can basically, with public preview, start a whole new site. What we're going to do along our path to general availability, which is going to be somewhere later this year, we will actually be, you will be able to open up an existing Power Apps portal into the Design Studio. So definitely the goal is by general availability that you will be able to open up existing Power Apps portals in the new Design Studio. Today at public preview, you cannot do that. The toggle button is not there, but we hope with all the releases that we're going to do towards general availability, that is the goal. So the answer is for GA, absolutely, you'll be able to take existing stuff and then use the new Design Studio.
Awesome.
And so
every portal will become a page auto-magically.
Yes, that is
awesome. That's great. So we tackled the M word, the migration. Now there's the L word, licensing. We got a lot of questions about what will Power Pages cost? How might it be different from what we currently have in the portals model? I know this is just a preview and we don't typically go there for early previews, but is there any light you can shed on how we're thinking about the cost and the value of working with Power Pages?
First, I'll acknowledge that the existing licensing model, we've got some great feedback. It's hard to estimate. As everybody knows, Power Apps portals licensing right now applies to the public preview, which is the customer estimates how many login experiences that they're expecting or how many anonymous views that they're expecting. And so the licensing today that exists is based on anonymous login views, page views, and authenticated logins. But what we are really trying to do towards GA, and then we're going to announce it pretty close to GA, is simplify that model. And so I cannot share stuff now, but what I can absolutely say is it's going to be simplified, which is more aligned with external sites, websites, how people think about, on a monthly usage basis, user basis licensing. So as we work through it, we will provide those new licensing options as we get to GA. But the existing model will apply for the preview.
So the answer is yes, stay tuned. It's definitely in the fullness of time type of question. But right now we're just really excited about people getting hands-on with the technology, and we've seen so much energy already around what people can do with but business and government websites on the platform that it's really cool to be opening that to a much broader set of audiences. Hey, we got another good one, and maybe this is a chance for us to call in some of the team members as well. The developer audience is always looking for the gotchas, especially in low code. What are some limitations if I'm a developer thinking about Power Pages? I haven't worked with the platform before, an admin and environment. What do I need to know going in, and are there things that I should be aware of before planning a project?
If Dilip's on call.
Yeah, I guess the major, that's actually a very tough question because you're asking me to say like, hey, what doesn't work? Yeah. I think the biggest thing I'll think about it is one of the core thing about Power Pages is it's mainly tied to Dataverse. So if there are scenarios where none of your data exists in Dataverse, and you cannot use virtual tables as well, just because it doesn't make sense in that scenario, that would be something where Power Pages will not be that much suited today. There are patterns we support where you can call like external APIs from client side, but at that point of time, it becomes like way too much heavy lifting, in my opinion. So those will be the places where I'll be cautious a bit. And then as we go along, like throughout the year, I think the other thing which you'll see is today, as Power Pages, we do not use solutions for ALM. We actually provide solutions through our CICD pipeline and through like GitHub Actions. So that is something like it's going to change as we go closer to GA. Like we are going to like start becoming part of the solution story for Power Platform as well. So that will be like another thing or another like differentiation, I'll say, which exists today. So you have to plan for that.
Yeah, for maybe folks on the call, particularly the developer audience that aren't as familiar with Microsoft Dataverse, this is the full backend and data platform that sits under all of our Dynamics 365 applications and is offered for effectively custom development and building any workload on top with Power Platform. And so Power Pages really get to build on top of that great infrastructure, and that's what makes it so powerful for a lot of these business process driven scenarios. I need more than just a static website of images and text on the internet. I need somebody to sign up for an appointment or report an outage or process a visa application or register for a course. Those are things where having that great data platform behind the scenes is really powerful. But to Dileep's point, that's sort of a founding principle of using Power Pages going in. And so if you have an existing data source, thinking about how to use it together with Dataverse is important. We got a lot of tools for integration and virtualization that make that possible. But hey, we've seen customers do really high scale and interesting things with Pages. There haven't been very many problems thrown at it yet that it's not capable of rising to, particularly in this space of process driven websites for external users, which just has a lot of need.
One question, maybe Ryan, you might be able to answer, because I think you've had some experience, is I think there's a question around how do you drive adoption of Fusion development? So what are we seeing today, maybe with Power Apps, with Fusion development, and how do the customers drive that adoption?
Sure. For folks that aren't familiar with that term, I'm just always on buzzword watch. That's an analyst term for really developers, traditional software developers, and people that are not traditionally software developers, people who have expertise in a business or might be tinkering with tools and consider themselves a citizen developer, really get together in a single team. And a Fusion team is a team of many different backgrounds and disciplines all working together on one stack and one set of solutions. And it's really transforming a lot of the way that people are building. In the session that we just aired, we talked about a Fusion team at this organization here in Australia, that combined somebody who had years of experience as an audiologist treating early childhood hearing patients and learned Power Platform with somebody who has years of software development experience, also working on Power Platform side by side to build better tools for that audience. That's something that historically was really separated at arm's length with lots of process, lots of research. As software engineers, we've traditionally treated the user as a research subject or an abstract persona at best. And a Fusion team really makes it possible to work side by side with those people and have them bring their expertise to the table and really cut down on a lot of those iteration loops and the distance between a developer and a user. So the question is, okay, how do I do that? How do I get my company to work that way? And how do I encourage it at scale? We've seen a lot of great examples of organizations that are really all in on Power Platform, intentionally creating those teams, and finding a business problem or a particular project, maybe something that is stuck in a different system or hasn't been prioritized on a backlog, and really intentionally going out there and saying, hey, let's tackle this and let's try low code as a way to tackle it. And let's do that by putting a few technical people and a few business experts around a table, sometimes in even a hackathon format. Let's see how far we can get in 2 or 3 days. And we see people doing that both for existing projects and problems, and also in more of an exploratory mode. Let's do a hackathon across the organization where we build hundreds or thousands of applications in a week with people forming these Fusion teams that previously may not have been able to participate in something like that. So really investing in it centrally and creating the culture where that's encouraged has been really effective for a lot of organizations. There are companies I can think of that we've participated with that have done events where they've built thousands of applications in a week with thousands of people participating in those teams. But you don't have to start that big. I think starting small, finding one thing at a time, one problem where you're stuck, inviting some users around the table, helping them really learn the tools and share the load is a great place to start. And if you haven't tried that yet, you'll learn a lot through the process, in all directions about how to get it going at a bigger level.
There's another great one, I think, by Dimitri that maybe we should talk about, which is, will a user be capable of utilizing the search service in order to find content from Power Pages, something similar to when you do in SharePoint Wiki pages or categorization? And so I'll talk a little bit about it, and Dilip, feel free to kind of chime in. So we're super excited. And so we, like Ryan talked about, underlying, we've got Microsoft Dataverse. That's where all the Power Pages' data gets saved. And so Microsoft Dataverse has a relevancy search service that we actually just integrated, and especially in the Power Apps portals, is in public preview. That enables you very similar experiences, Dimitri, you were asking about. It has fuzzy logic search. So looking up, searching for content on your resultant site that you create with Power Apps portals. So we utilize relevancy search provided by Dataverse.
And just to add to it, if the question was also around, hey, will Power Pages content show up inside like M365 search, like how like SharePoint and all other content shows up, then that is true as well, because M3 now, like in build, we also announced how M365 search will get content from Dataverse, and all the Power Pages content which you create is actually stored in Dataverse as well. So that content will start appearing inside M365 if it is enabled for Dataverse search too.
Cool. And that, by the way, is super exciting. Being able to bring business data into the place where people are collaborating every day, using Teams, using Microsoft 365 is just really tears down the wall between business applications and productivity apps, and is one of many ways that we're really bringing those two worlds together with collaboration. But there's a lot of other great collab content at this conference. We won't go into too much gory detail there. To shift gears a little bit, there's another question up here that is really not about pages or Express design, but actually about Power Apps and multi-page printing, which for folks that have been deep in the community for a long time is a really top ask. It's top voted in our ideas site. We've made some steps here in product in the past to make simple printing of one page at a time possible, but a lot of folks are wondering where can I go further with it and win, and what are my other options in the meantime? And that's I know is near and dear to Clay's team's heart. Clay leads our Power Apps Studio organization. I'll pass it over to you, Clay, to help take this one.
Thanks, Ryan. I turned to my camera preemptively. I knew this question was going to come my direction. So for folks that have worked with it and remember last year, as Ryan mentioned, we added the ability for folks to generate a simple screen to PDF to screen and print. What we're doing at the moment, and we're actually going through the final stages of development at the moment, is supporting multi-page printing as well as export to PDF. And that's actually the top community ask that we have for Power Apps, bringing both export to PDF support and multi-page. So we're in the final stages of development at the moment. We hope to close it out and it will be in preview in the coming months. We're really excited.
But what I really want to know, Clay, is if I can generate a PDF from an app and now also generate an app from a PDF, can I create an infinite loop?
You can just get it stuck in an infinite loop of building apps. Which why would you want that?
I don't know. I'm just saying, it's a technology conference. We got to explore the possible and the impractical here. Okay, back to more concrete questions. There's some good ones in here. Also, just kind of people trying to locate, how does this compare to something like WordPress, particularly for Power Pages? If I think about low-code web development tools, certainly WordPress comes to mind. Sangha, can you help us kind of locate where Power Pages fits in space related to that?
Yes, this is a very, very common question when folks think about external websites. So if you think about external websites as different types of websites on a spectrum, on one side you can have like product, what I call like brochure sites, hey, I'm a law firm, here are the services I provide, to blogs, right? Here's I'm an athlete and here's my blog, or things like that. that's on one side, towards getting a little bit more and more into when you're trying to automate a business process with someone outside your organization. So for example, if you are trying to do some kind of an application submission process, when you're trying, that's maybe paper-based or people are calling, it takes a lot of time, and you want to really have a website to process that application. You want to maybe apply for a grant, or you want to do permit licensing, or you want your customers to have like a B2C process, for example, register for product warranty or returns or customer service, book an appointment with a bank executive, right? So whenever there is business data process that you want to provide 24/7 self-service, that's where Power Pages shines, not around blogs and WordPress kind of sites. That's not what we build for. But there are so many business processes, whether governments have it with their communities or organizations have it with their partners and their customers, so many of them, and they're looking for a platform and a service where they can really rapidly, for that micro business process, quickly spin up a Power Page based website and streamline that process rapidly and really reduce the time and increase efficiency with that external audience. So that's kind of on the right side spectrum of the types of websites that Power Pages shines and is built for.
That's awesome. And there's actually a related question there, a couple of them. Are there templates available, and will you be focusing on industry specific examples that help people get up and running faster?
Yeah, so this is a big investment moving forward. So with the public preview, we do start with an introduction of something that we call Templates Hub, where the goal is that we'll have lots of different types of out-of-the-box templates that come with the website design, with the Dataverse business model, with demo data that you can get going with. It can be based on patterns and then based on industries. So we start with 3 of these templates with public preview. 2 you'll see today, it's like coming soon. And then our goal, our vision is that the Templates Hub will have, tens and hundreds over the years of out-of-the-box, high-value solution templates.
That's awesome. Maybe shifting back here, there's a couple of questions about co-authoring and collaboration. When's it come into Power Apps? Will Power Pages get it as well? This is something, for Collab, we've been spending a lot of time on, and we've actually already lit up features across Power Platform for things like commenting as a first step. But maybe Clay, you can give us a little bit of a peek into what's coming next on that front for Collab in Power Apps and beyond.
Yeah, absolutely. As Ryan mentioned, there's a few things that we already have in market to enable collaboration across the team. We've introduced membership to the environment, so you can see who you're working with and what their roles are. And we've brought commenting into the space as well. As part of that as well, on Canvas apps at the moment, we have co-authoring enabled through Git integration. And so while this not might be the live integration, co-authoring folks are familiar with, what it does give you the ability to do is have multiple developers working at the same time in the same app and merge their changes back together. We have that available in Canvas at the moment. We're about to bring it out shortly, a similar integration into the modern app designer and model driven as well. It's a space we're really excited about. As Ryan sort of said, keep an eye on it. We're going to continue to tighten that integration so that co-authoring between makers gets even more seamless.
Yeah, and the cool part is we're building it in a way that it'll be real easy to reuse and extend across everything you're doing in Power Platform. So it sounds like we are at time based on the slide that's coming up on the screen. That half an hour went really quick. Thank you, everybody, for some really high quality questions, and we can't wait to see what you're able to do with all of these new things that we're rolling out here at Build.
Thank you again, everyone, for joining our Ask the Expert session. We truly appreciate your time. If you have a moment, the feedback is always useful. There's also some additional sessions you can watch, add them to your book, to your digital backpack, and see them on demand as well. Have a wonderful build.